What's good, everybody? Welcome to Back to the Block podcast with your host, Anthony Alston. I am super excited to start this series with you guys. It's been in the work for a while, and I know you guys are going to enjoy it. Here, we're going to be taking it back to the block where our story began. We're going to revisit feelings of uncertainty that we experienced when we lacked guidance, skills, and mentorship. Despite the challenges, minimal resources, and adversity that we faced, we had to start somewhere. The belief in ourselves was put to the test when people doubted our dreams, goals, and ambitions. We faced constant reminders that only a small percentage of athletes make it to the top, and now it's time to tell our stories and inspire the next generation. This podcast is for us. This is our platform. Let's take it back to the block. Join us as four-year pro and Gonzaga alum takes us back in time and shares compelling feelings and experiences as he rises to the top. The relentless competitor in him gives him an edge that most people know nothing about. From the 4 a.m. workouts in high school to seeing LeBron's pregame warm-up as an opponent, tune in because you're not going to want to miss any of these stories along with the basketball knowledge and advice given in this episode. What's good, man? First episode, Back to the Block podcast. Got a special guest. No other person I want to start this podcast off other than my good friend that I've grown a good bond with through workouts, and he's a good, solid guy. And you're gonna see more about his upbringing and how he got to this foundation and how he's built like this. It's my good friend Jordan Mathews. What's up, Jordan?
What's up, man? Appreciate you having me. It's really nice to see what you're doing, and I know it's going to be highly successful. So thanks for having me.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know the summer grind for athletes now is intense. So I'm not gonna take too much of your time, but we're definitely gonna take it back to the block and let the people learn more about you.
Okay, bet. Sounds good.
So starting learning more about you, I'm gonna run down your resume just so people know the dog that we got here, like so people kind of get a brief understanding of why you're this first guest on this platform. So high school 4-star recruit, CIF Southern Section D1 Player of the Year, League Player of the Year, played at Gonzaga University, University of Cal as well. Coming up on his 5th year pro, touched the NBA a little bit, been in Denmark, Italy, Russia, and we'll see where he's going to go next. And we'll see more on how he got to this success and where it started and things like that. So let's take it all the way back to the block, Jordan. Let's tell the people, when did you first pick up a basketball?
First picked up a basketball. It's just been around as long as I can remember because my dad's a coach. I just been around the game so long. I think I first started playing when I was like 3 or 4, but it was like casual, like I didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and I, we played a lot of different sports growing up, so it just mixed into those other sports. But my first memory of basketball is having like this little red hoop and just shooting on that hoop, and then doing like defensive slides in the kitchen with my dad. So like that's like my earliest memories of hoop. So probably around 3 or 4.
So it's safe to say that Pops put the ball in your hands.
Yeah, but he never made it like a thing where he was like he necessarily wanted us to play. It
Mm-hmm.
was one of those things like we got to decide on our own. Like I kind of decided I wanted to play at a high level when I was like 8, and Jonah kind of decided a little later when he was like 11, 12. But he never forced us. He was never like, you guys have to play basketball. We just kind of grew to enjoy it and grew to love it.
That was my next question. You just said you grew to love it, and you said you started taking it serious kind of around 8. That doesn't necessarily mean you loved it then, though. When would you say you really fell in love with the game and you were like, this is what I want to do in my life, and I just love this sport?
Um, I don't even know if it was like that's what I want to do with my life. It was like one of those things where I just really enjoy the details of the game, like even like different types of rims, different arenas, like the sound of like the ball bouncing. and the lights coming on, that buzz, like
Mm.
just little things like that. It was what I really still really enjoy about basketball is like not necessarily the games or the competition or like the level, but just little parts about the game, the floor, the the sound of like the ball hitting the backboard and going in or swishing. Those are all parts of the game I really enjoy. So it just turned into another thing because and this being a high level player, everybody's like, "Oh, you got to make sacrifices if you want to get there." But to
Hmm.
me, it never felt like a sacrifice. It was just what I wanted to do.
Got you. And it's funny that you listed all those things about like I love the game because of the backboard, the ball, like just little intangibles. And it's funny, like a thing that I love now is just like the way the floor squeaks with the shoes, like
Yeah,
playing going to different countries overseas, like some countries you're never squeaking for like months. Like your shoes never make that squeak when you get the grip, you spit on the floor, do whatever. Like that's what we're talking about. Like some shoes never squeak. So like those are little things. Like I know what you're saying because like I just have a great love for I call it the squeakies, like just having squeaky shoes.
yeah, bro. Like some of those European floors, like you just don't. It just sounds like people like running, like on the floor. It just like all you hear is like pitter patter, like feet, like it's like people running through the house. It's
For
like
real.
I don't know if it's like what they use or what kind of material the floor is, but like all the courts here, like you put some water on the floor or you ready to play, like you're gonna hear the squeaking, of the shoes,
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, that's funny. So um okay, let's take it. We're still back to the block. Let's where are you from exactly? So I know you finished high school up in LA, Santa Monica High School, but I don't think you're from Southern Cal. So tell us kind of about your upbringing.
so I was born in Ventura, which is up by Oxnard, like a little north
Hmm.
of LA. I was born there, lived there for a year, and my dad got the head coaching job in San Francisco. So we lived in San Francisco for Jonah was born in San Francisco. We lived there for my first 10 years. So that was like big, a huge point of growth, like in my life. All my elementary school years are there. And then we moved to Riverside when I was like 10, 11. Lived down there for a couple of years, moved to Nebraska, moved back, and
Wow.
moved to LA. So it's a little bit of everywhere. And I'm grateful that we did move a lot because I was able to, um, meet a vast array of people and learn a lot from a lot of different people. So a little bit of everywhere.
So would you say there was a significant difference in the style of playing basketball in these other states that you were living and growing up in for the time being?
So I would say this, like, and me and my friends, like, even and my boys now we play overseas, like discuss it, like the basketball regional stereotypes definitely hold some truth.
For
Like
sure.
people are always like, dudes from California always trying to look cool. It's like, no, we're not trying to look cool. We can just shoot. Like a lot of y'all bruisers can't shoot, so you are doing super hard. Like like if you don't have a clip, then you gotta run around really
Facts.
hard. So like, but like Nebraska, they weren't like huge on basketball out there. It's getting bigger because Creighton is good and Nebraska has some
Right.
good players, but like the regional stereotypes definitely hold some weight. Like all Indiana Hoopers is going to be super fundamental and can shoot. You just know that, right? Dudes from the South going to be dumb athletic.
Hmm.
Like, dudes from Jersey and New York, they're not shooting the ball up and catch. Like it's all tween, step back,
Facts.
like
They're gonna try and
straight.
punk you all gritty work.
The whole game. You could be up 30. You could be up 30. They talking crazy.
Facts.
And so like the regional stereotypes, they hold weight. Like dudes from Seattle, they're not doing anything if they're not getting the Hezzy cross in first. So the regional stereotypes hold weight, and like the style of basketball, I think that also helped me play overseas because, when you go over there, everybody's like, well, what could be so hard? You just go over there playing basketball. It's like, yes and no. Like they're not calling fouls.
Hmm.
They're not calling fouls for Americans. So playing in different styles and different against different opponents coming up really helped for now.
That's dope. That's dope. You got to see different cultures and experiences as a youngster. So just like you said, overseas is even easier living in a sense because you've haven't just lived in one state your whole life. You've got to see different, environments, stuff like that. So that's what's up, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
And like you said, you were moving all these places because your dad was a coach. And I've met him a couple times. So we haven't talked too much in depth, but from my understanding, he's a walking legend. So just kind of talk about I'm not sure if he played or not, but just talk about Pops's playing career, coaching career, and just kind of the influence that he had, and also what it was like being a coach's kid, if he coached you guys or not.
Yeah. So like he was the first um Black American to play at Irvine.
Wow.
And like I just didn't know that until I was like a little older, but he told us.
And is
And
that
I
UC
always
Irvine?
yeah, UC Irvine. He was the first Black player to play there.
Wow, that's dope.
And I just like as a coach, um, his style was hard. It's hard nosed, but it's like it's fair. Like he's not ever gonna tell the guy something that's not true. I think that that kind of grittiness carried over to me and Jonah, um, and my sisters as well. He his coaching career started when he was like fresh out of college. Like he started coaching. He coached at Cal State Fullerton. He coached high school. And he coached at Ventura College. Won a couple state championships. State championships there. Moved to San Francisco. Took them to the tournament in '98. Beat Gonzaga. That was the last time Gonzaga, like I think, didn't make the tournament. I think was that year, and it's weird that I ended up playing for few. So he's had an illustrious career with a lot of success, and his teams are still very, very good. I think it's because he instills a foundation of like hard work, playing smart, and I think that's something that carried that unintentionally carried over to me and Jonah. Like being coach's kid, you just play the game a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he did coach me a little bit, and it wasn't hard. Like people always like, was it hard getting coached by your dad? No, he just lets you play. You just got to play hard. And I think that's why I kind of bump heads with coaches sometimes. I'm like, yo, like we running 90 sets for. Like we got 24 seconds to get a shot off. What are you talking? Like. So having him as a coach and as a parent really helped us both in ways that like we continue to still see today.
Yeah, I seen up at 360, the shoot 360 where we train at. I was on the shooting guns one morning, and Jordan and Jonah and Pops came in, and they were doing some conditioning work on the main court. And I was texting either Jonah or Jordan before, and I was gonna hop in, but then I came and seen Pops came. I was like, okay, let me just let them get it. I just kept shooting, and these dudes were going so hard. Like I'm like, dang, what are they doing over there? Like I think you might have threw up this day. Like they were doing slides to sprint, full course slides, super sprints. Like y'all was really getting it in, and this was just a conditioning day. Like there's no balls were touched, no
No
nothing.
ball, no
Yeah,
ball.
like just
Nah,
straight
nah.
conditioning. So
Yeah,
the
all lab
intensity
work.
I seen it. Cause I was shooting and like y'all weren't yelling or anything, but like it was just like I could just hear and kind of feel what was going on. You feel me on the other side of the skills case. So let me just go
Yes.
peek real quick, and I just yeah, y'all was getting it in. I'm like, yeah, maybe it's a good thing I didn't go in there today. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what I was getting myself into for real.
Oh, bro, he would have let you jump in, but he would have killed you too. He'd been like, "Yeah, man, like we just got to get these sprints down." Like, and we still do that. Like, I've been out the past couple of weeks with a tendonitis, but
Mm-hmm.
like once I ramp it back up, that's the first thing I'm gonna do is get on the floor and do that conditioning workout. It's a good gauge to just see where you're at because if you think about it, hoop really comes down to all right. If you're in shape and can make decisions when everybody else is tired,
Yeah,
you at a different level. Everybody's good first quarter, everybody's good second quarter, and everybody's good third quarter. But that fourth, when you're tired, legs hurt, maybe a little sore, that's when the brain start telling you, "Oh, I'm a little tired." So if you can
exactly.
be in shape when everybody else is not, you know, you could have a rough game up to that point, but you just kick it into another gear late, just take over.
Yep, hitting your second win at the right time.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah,
Okay, now before we continue, you mentioned Jonah a few times here. Talk about or not even talk about, but just how many siblings do you have?
I have three siblings. I have Jonah, who's my younger brother, and I have two older sisters.
Okay, and the sisters played any sports as well?
They dabbled with basketball and other sports. They didn't really want to play like that, but I mean, they could have. The way I hear it, my sister was really talented. My sister Akila and
Hmm.
had great footwork, but she just didn't really. She wasn't really that interested in it.
Gotcha. And Jonah played at USC. He's a little go over there. It's a couple years overseas now. He's up and rising. He's a good player. He'll be on the show as well. So that's who he keeps mentioning. That's his younger brother. They're probably the best brother couple that I've played against. Like these dudes hit the toughest shots I've ever witnessed. They're hard to guard. They're both taller, so they're bigger than me. So these dudes are they're tough buckets, but that's the family. So I heard you had a growth spurt. Talk about how much you spurted and what was basketball like before and after the growth spurt? Because some people don't get to even have and understand like life's a little different once you're have length and wingspan and these kind of things. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, like I was never, coming up, I never felt like I was like even now, like I'm considered a medium-sized guard.
Hmm.
But even when I was younger, I never felt like I thought I was like a big guard, but I wasn't. So then, like once I grew a little bit, I grew a lot my freshman year, and just kept inching along as I kept going through high school. And then like I grew a lot junior to senior year. I was like 6 feet, and I went to like 6'2.5", 6'3". And then when that happened, everything kind of came together for me in a way that it hadn't before.
Hmm.
And but I'm glad I didn't grow till later because same thing with Jonah. Jonah didn't grow until he was like a junior in high school. But we were able to build those skills early, and that's why I'm like I always tell kids who are young if I ever meet them like even if you're tall as a young kid, do not work on post moves. Get your guard game right.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, you a 6'7", 6'8" guard, but the reverse is so much tougher.
Hmm.
Like kids playing daddy ball and they have the ball over their head. We were always taught the fundamentals. Like even when we were younger, like I remember we used to do 7 spot shooting with my dad at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like we make 250 shots before school,
Dang.
5 days a week, 6 days a week. Like I remember junior senior year before I really grew, I had a trainer and we would work out at 4:30 in the morning. We'd run the hills. We'd do conditioning outside. We'd go in the weight room. We'd like do all my work, like weight rise. And then after that, I go to school, have practice after school, shoot after practice, then go home, repeat. And that was like a 5 day a week thing most of the spring and summer. And that's when I felt like the growth in my game really took over.
Dang. So you was getting it at a young age, and it's like it's no coincidence because every like great player they have a story like that where they did something that like obviously was going to separate them. Like I said, you're up at 5 and you're doing work at 5. So not only are you getting up, but you're doing the work. So you found the recipe early, I would say.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it was one of those things where it's like that's what works for me. Like I know some guys circadian rhythm is not made to wake up at 4. Like
Hmm.
they may need that extra rest so they can perform better at 9 or 10. So like, but for me in high school, even in Nebraska, I remember in Nebraska, like my dad would go work out 4:30 and I'd hear him up and I'd be like, yo, can I go with you to shoot? And he's like, he told us, I'm not taking you if you're gonna dick around in there. Like I'm not like I'm not gonna work you out if it's gonna be weak. Like I'm just not gonna do it. Like either we're gonna go hard or you just can't come. I was like, okay. So that's when it started, and I was like doing plyometrics and stuff early, and then once we did that, it just became natural. And even now, it's really second nature to do that. So yeah,
Yeah, I remember my senior year, me and a teammate, I did it damn near every day until after season. He didn't come a few days, like just a few days, but every day at lunch, like soon as the bell rings right before lunch, I just go straight to the gym and get shots up. Like I'm not eating, I'm not talking to friends in the quad. I just go straight to the gym and I'm shooting. Then we have practice right after. So I'm beating coach to the gym. I'm beating everyone to the gym. And like the days where the homie did miss, He's like, man, I gotta eat some food. I'm like, bro, you don't need to eat. Like, just come on, bro. Like,
Let's get
I,
these
I,
shots up.
yeah, like I just didn't
Yeah.
understand, but like there's different levels of love and different levels of work and just things like that. Like I would rather just starve and eat later. He's like, no, I'm starving. I need to eat. Like,
Right. But it
there's
didn't,
different
you know, what's
stuff.
crazy though? Like to you, like at that time, it did not seem like work. You were like, oh, I'm just going to go do this is what I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that's what I think a lot of successful hoopers had, like you, my brother, all the guys that like are successful in hoop. It's like, you know, there are those rare cases where guys don't really care, but for the most part, it's what you enjoy doing. My boy Leland King said that. Like he was shooting at lunch. People were like, "Why are you shooting at lunch?" He's like, "Hey man, I've seen you on the quad for 3 years. What we gonna talk about? You know?
And you still
So
gonna be here when I'm done and
you're
tomorrow
gonna be
too.
here when I'm done. It don't matter. You know? So yeah,
Santa Monica High School,
yeah, man. It was the good old days.
second team All State, 4-star recruit. ESPN has you ranked as the 33rd best shooting guard and 77th overall. 24 points per game, 9 rebounds per game. Played for Cal Supreme, which is the EYBL team. Played with the Peach Jam. We'll get into that. You were Ocean League Player of the Year, junior and senior year, and you were CIF Southern Section D1 Player of the Year. That sounds like a hell of a high school experience. So I want you to just take us back to that time. So you might have just moved here for high school. You might have been on a few years before that. So just talk about Santa Monica High School, that experience, and just high school ball, and then we'll get into EYBL and recruiting process and those things.
Yeah. So like we moved to Santa Monica. We moved to Santa Monica my 10th grade year. My ninth grade, I went to John W. North in Riverside. So
Okay.
like when I transferred out here, my dad had just gotten the job at UCLA. So I came with him one day to look at schools, and like we were talking about Westchester and Fairfax and all that, and we were just in Santa Monica, and like my dad was like, "Oh, like you don't want to go here, right?" And I was like, "Oh, like I saw the location. I was like, yeah, I could go. I'm gonna check it out. I was like, I'm gonna check it out. I'm
For
gonna see
sure.
what it's about, right?" So we go in the gym, and I'm like standing there, and I remember meeting Coach Heck, and he was like, "Yeah, like, you know, we just ended. It was like June 7th, I remember, and he was like, "We just finished school, you know, we don't really have spots like that, but he can try out and maybe play JV this summer." And I was like, "Okay, all right." So like the next day I came, I tried out, and he was like, "Yeah, you're not playing JV." So like it just clicked at Santa Monica, and like I was able to play immediately and grow like a lot. Competition was crazy. Like we played everybody because Santa Monica, they didn't like Coach Heck didn't run from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So played a great schedule, and yeah, it was. I'm really fortunate I picked Santa Monica. I'm happy I picked Santa Monica, and I really have a lot of fond memories there. I know Jonah does too.
I know you said you were able to play right away, which obviously had to start with some growing pains. And Coach Heck is a great coach, great guy. When would you say you kind of just like kind of figured it out and kind of was like, okay, like I'm here or I understand how this high school game works or I'm solidified? Like when did you kind of say you figured things out?
I had struggled sophomore year with physicality and guys' size bodying me up.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't that great of a shooter at that point. So mostly it was like driving to the basket. Um, but I think I figured it out about midway through my junior year, where I was like, all right, I can go get 20, 25 any game I want. Like if I really want to, I can just go get 25, 30. Like it's not a problem. So like then by senior year, it was really light work. Like it was like, all right, now like it doesn't matter. We play. They can't guard. They can't guard. You know, it doesn't matter. They don't have anybody. So that was huge. I think midway through my junior year, like between the workouts and then like being around the college guys at UCLA and just playing, like I was like, all right, man, high school hoop is light work. I can do this.
Led your team all the way to a state title game, senior year, huh?
Yeah, man, we lost in the state. We won the CIF, won the region, and then I kind of remember that game. It was a weird game. We had a couple guys get hurt. I think I got a hit pointer kind of early, and I had like 4 fouls in the first half. I was like,
Boy, a
yo,
hack.
I never fouled. No, I was like, because I played the four, so I was like doing ball screen coverages. So
Mm.
I was like switching out, and then he would call like a touch foul. I was like, yo, this is crazy. So yeah, we lost, but it was a great year anyway. And I was like, you know what? Roll with it. You know, it stings, but it was a great year. I think we went like 29-7 or something like that. It was a
Wow.
really good year. A lot of fun.
Okay, so let's talk AAU days.
Yeah.
Let's talk about who you ran with. I think you ran with a couple teams, and then just go into EYBL and recruiting if you were getting recruited heavy or not before that, and just talk about that whole process.
Yeah. So like first year out of high school, played with Pump and Run. They were AAU team by the Pump brothers,
Good
and it
team.
was cool. They just got a whole bunch of the best, like what they perceived to be the best freshmen in Southern California. Put us on two teams. Just played a whole bunch of tournaments. Um, and that was like, it was cool. And I played with Dream Vision the next year. I played with Dream Vision for 2 years. No, Dream Vision for 1 year, and that was a little better competition because Adidas at that point the Adidas tournaments were kind of like hit or miss, right? So like
Hmm.
in the Indiana Invitational, we played in Indianapolis. We played everybody, like everybody was good, like everybody, like all the teams were pretty good. But then you get to like one of these random one-off tournaments that we played in like the Real Deal in the Rock in Arkansas.
Yeah.
That turn was terrible. So I was like, whatever, man. Like it doesn't matter. Um, but then like my first taste of like, okay, like I wasn't getting recruited at all through this freshman, sophomore, junior year. Did did not have a college offer. Like, mind you, my dad's working at UCLA, so he's recruiting guys I'm playing against. So
Hmm.
I'm hot. I'm trying to kill everybody. And I was like, he just told me like, stay the course. You're good enough. Just stay the course. Keep hooping. So my first EYBL session when I was a junior, that was when I was like, oh no, this is the show. Like this is the real show. Um, yeah. Um, Went there. Didn't have a college offer on Monday. On Didn't have a college offer on Thursday when we went. Had like five when it ended on Monday. So I had a really good weekend and it all kicked off from there. But I've always loved competition in the EYBL. Like that was the best. That was the highest level competition outside the NCAA tournament I think I played in.
Averaging 16 in EYBL is tough. Like I bet there's a lot of tough buckets because the intensity I know is high and I haven't even seen or experienced it. So I can just only imagine that you was really getting to it. So it's no surprise those offers came rolling in after the weekend.
Yeah, like after that first weekend, like so my my dad before we left because he was going there to recruit, so he got to watch all my games, and he was like, um, I don't know if you like want to play D1. He said, or if you're gonna have to go D2. He said it doesn't matter. Like just go out there, play, show what you can do, and let the chips fall where they may. And I said, forget it. I had 30 game one. It was over after that. Like I was like, yeah, I'm going crazy. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna hoop. I'm just gonna go insane. So that's what I did. I was like, I'm just gonna go crazy, and um, it all really worked out because it could have very easily gone the other way, where it was uh, like, we're not gonna offer him. He's just not good enough.
Right.
And, would have gone a different way. But I was fortunate that it went the way it did.
Who pulled the trigger first? Who was that first offer from?
My first college offer was Tom Crean, University of Indiana.
Ooh, that's tough.
He was my first offer. He called me I remember he called me at lunch on Monday when I got back. I was tired. We flew back. I was dead, bro. I didn't have any I had no
Left it all on
I
the
was
floor.
Like I was done. Like we had to fly because like back then, like AAU trip, you had to come back and go to school. My parents were like, yeah, you gotta go to school. I was like, cool. I just hooped for 4 days in a different time zone, but like they didn't care. They were like always school first.
Facts.
Like I remember I got this Indiana call at like lunch. He was like, all right, it's Coach Crean offering you a scholarship. Like, oh, really? So then once that happened, they all started rolling in. Like it was like in one day. Like I had to leave class like 30 times.
That's how it be. Once it's like, this that's how it is in life too. Like no one wants something until they see other people.
Everybody, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I'm trying to like the value perception is everything, right? So like a lot of times I kind of feel like schools are scared to pull the trigger on guys because other schools haven't done it. You
Hmm.
know, like a guy can really play, but they be like, nah, like nobody's offered him yet. But if another team offers you, then they just like, oh yeah, we like him now, which is crazy, but it's part of the game. I get it.
Yeah. Hey, you better than me because school would have been over for me on that Monday. I get that
Bro,
call. I'm turned up. I'm done.
I,
I'm done for.
I was like, yo, I'm out of here. Like I'm done. Like I'm ready to go. Like, but school is school. And I enjoyed it. Went to a really fun school. So it was like, all right, like I remember on one day I had zero offers. I had Indiana, Wyoming, Marquette, Miami, Kansas State, Kansas, Texas A&M, and Florida State. Like that was like day one.
Those are big time schools. It's not like they're low major or like, like these are high level schools. Day one, like you said. That's
Day one.
crazy.
But the crazy part was like I just considered them schools. Like I was like, y'all play in a high major conference, but like, where can I go and play? Like, where am I gonna go and get off? You
Yeah.
know, I was about to go to LMU for real. I was about to just go to LMU because I was like, they're gonna let me get right.
Wow.
They're gonna let me take 30 shots a game. I like the sound of that. So yeah, yeah.
So you said you were about to go to LMU, whether you're joking or not joking. Who were your finalists? And then let's talk about that decision on
My
why you
real
chose.
my finalists: Cal, Indiana, Miami, Miami, LMU, USC, Texas A&M. Yeah, it was them, and they were all. And the thing is, it was all like every one of them was like. I got lucky because I didn't buy into the hype because I got a Kansas offer, and I was like, Kansas, I'm
Mm.
gonna go there. My dad was like, you ain't going to Lawrence, Kansas. Like, well, like, he was like, what you gonna do in Lawrence, Kansas? Like, he was like, so he was like, where's the best fit for you personally? Where you gonna play? It's gonna be high level competition. You gonna get to show your stuff. Where is that? And I was like, well, it's USC or Cal. So USC backed away from me. They rescinded my offer like a little like right when I was about to commit. They were like, yeah, we're gonna go another direction. I was like, fine, I'll go to Cal. And it worked out at Cal too.
Same conference. You're like, I'm just gonna see y'all then. Like, that's
And
fine.
I'm a fry y'all when I see y'all. so so
So
so
you ended up deciding Cal. Who did USC end up going with another guard, or did someone commit in order for them to do that, or you were just taking too long, or what happened with the USC
it
at
was
the end of it?
I went on an unofficial visit to SC like spring. And I liked it. Like I was like, I like SC, but like they were pretty bad at this time. And they had like NCAA violations, whatever. So it was all this stuff with SC. But I was like, okay, I like it here. It's cool. Like this isn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
But uh I think they were higher on another guard and they were like pressing him to commit because they were like, this other kid's gonna commit and we want you though. So he committed and they were like, oh no, we can't take you. And I was like, all right, like that. So I went to Cal. I got lucky at Cal too because that team was law. That the first team I was on was loaded with guards. Like I was supposed to redshirt my first year, so
Wow.
it's kind of breaking down barriers and just like keep at it. That's like the theme I think. Is just keep at it. Don't worry about all the external noise, this and that. Stay with it because you'll break it down.
Exactly. So you went to Cal thinking I'm gonna redshirt this season. I'm just gonna develop and get better. You finished the season Pac-12 all freshman team.
Yeah.
So you was still getting to it. Like the work and the talent it was undeniable.
Yeah, like so I didn't think I was gonna redshirt. I thought I was gonna start. Like my first day, I saw the roster, I was like, yo, like so like when y'all start taking shots, that takes away from my shot. They were like, no, freshman, you gotta wait. I was like, wait. So, so, so I was trying to get to it like bro, like, and I've always done this. Practice has always been very, very serious to me. I don't know what other guys think about practice is always taken very, very seriously. Like, I'm here to kill, right? So I started killing practice, and the coach called me, and Monty, like my first coach, Mike Montgomery, he's like,
Uh,
we think we see some minutes for you this year. I'm like, yeah, I do too. So, so, so we started moving right. So we played Oakland second game. I played like 1 minute, bro. I called my dad. I was crying. I'm like, I'm about to transfer. Like, so I couldn't do it, right? I couldn't do it. So my first real college game where I was like, oh, I'm here. We played Syracuse in the Maui Invitational.
mm.
I remember like a 2 p.m. game. It was hot in there, right? Great game. I had like 12 points, but I was like, yo, I'm really him. I was, I was like, I'm him. Like I got it. So once I had that game, it was off. I was like, I'm good. Like I got this shit figured out.
Facts.
So after that, like I remember later in the year, you know, I had a bad game at Stanford, and my coach like he tried to motivate me. He was like, maybe this level just a little bit too much for you. And then we play at Oregon. They're like number 9 in the country. And he said, it might just be too much for you. You may need to think about taking a level down. I was like,
Mm.
level down. So I had 32 that game. I was like, yo, I was like, bro, to this day, I don't remember that game. I just remember him saying that. And then like, that's it. I was like,
And that is what you call a blackout game. You
bro,
blacked
I just
out and
blacked
went
out.
crazy.
I just blacked out. I still don't remember. My dad was like, what happened? I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just went crazy.
Coach poked the bear. You don't want to poke the bear, man.
He just, bro, he knew what he was doing too. He said it and he just saw me like start blinking slow. And I was like, really? All right.
And that is one thing I will say about you. If we're doing shooting competition or playing ones, threes, fives, whatever, if someone like gets a bucket and like subtly flexes or says something, like it's over. Like you're like, okay, like you going right at them, it might turn into a one on if it's 5-on-5, it might turn into 1-on-1. Like it's just me and you is all I see now. Like I
That's
will
all I
say
see. I
you
like, that's
do
all I
do
see
that. Like you do that for sure.
for sure. And I don't blame Jonah. It's like attributed to Jonah for that. And that's why I think like we always went at it when we were younger. Everything, bro. Everything we did was together. Everything we did was competitive, bro. We played Xbox one time when we were in Nebraska, and I beat him in college 2K, like the college version of 2K. I remember I beat him. He was Carolina. I beat him on a buzzer beater. Bro, this man took the controller. He hit me so hard. I think I blacked out. Like I think I he
Yeah,
he
I'm
smacked me with that
weak.
controller so crazy. Like I was like, yo, I think I'm bleeding. Like he went crazy. So to this day, like that's why I have like those blackout moments where I'm like, oh yo, like it's on. Like I gotta compete now. Like I just gotta go crazy. So yeah, those happen a lot, and they're fun. It's fun to compete.
Yeah, you love competing, and I've witnessed you and Jonah just go at it in workouts. Like it might have been twos or threes, it turned into ones. Like I seen it, I seen a headlock happen. I seen it all. Like y'all get to it. Y'all can get under each other's skins fast, and y'all compete. Y'all both are high level competitors.
Yes, and like so his big thing with me is he doesn't like you playing threes is game point. You get a step on somebody, you got to foul him, right?
Hmm.
Anybody else foul him is fine. I foul him, bro. He's hot. He's like, why would you foul me, Jordan? Like I'm like Jonah, we just got the. He's like, no, but tell me why you fouled me. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, it's just like that nature in both of us is has helped us a lot. I think just being competitive. And you're super competitive too. Like that's why our workouts are always so good, is because it's constantly It's not guys walking in and going through the motions.
Hmm.
You trying to get better. Like, I'm trying to go at somebody.
Yeah, it's definitely all dogs. Like I love because you like I said, you guys are tough shot makers and creators. So I love to try and stop you guys and just stop high level players, and then it gets chippy. Like we're all dogs, so we getting after it, man, for sure.
Yep.
But back to the Cal days. Maui was not the only notable place you played at. Talk about Australia and every Hooper's dream, Madison Square Garden.
Oh yeah, bro. But yeah, we had some great experiences in Cal. So like, all right, so we played at the Garden, and like I
Talk
didn't
about
know
your
I was
first experience. Like, yeah, like go really go into details about the garden because I can't
so
even.
like
I don't
okay, so
even
like
know.
I'd only seen the Garden on TV. I'd never been there before that. So like, we had shoot around. We played Syracuse in the Garden, bro. Like it was
Mm.
Syracuse, like they call them New York's team. Played them in the Garden. So like we get there for shoot around like at 2. And we in there, and I'm looking at like all the rim. It just looked nicer than a regular, like it just looked nice. And like I'm into the details again. I'm like, that rim is beautiful. Like that net is crisp. That I was like, bro, that corner three is just so nice. It's just nice. Like it was just like everything about the Garden so nice.
Details.
But it was cold in there. Like I was like, oh, it's cold. Like,
Huh.
and I didn't know it wasn't that big. It's big, but it ain't like crazy. So I thought it was crazy. I thought it was like crazy, like triple rafter.
It looks
And
like that.
yeah, it looks like that on TV, right?
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
not. And
Wow.
so like shooting in the Garden, like the first couple of times, bro, I wasn't even trying to make a shot. I was like, I just want to put one up on the goal. I just threw it, bro. I was just in there. So like that whole day, I was thinking about. I was like, Michael Jordan shot this shot here. He dunked on Patrick Ewing right there. Derrick Rose dunked on Goran Dragic.
Mm.
No, yeah, Derrick Rose did that double pump dunk here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just walking through the spots, and I was like, he made it from right there. Like the whole, bro. That's all I did to shoot around.
Wow. That's
I know
live.
coach got mad. So like, um, so once we played Syracuse, like ball go up, right? It's crazy in there, and they throw a lob to Raheem Christmas. He dunks it, and bro, the first time I touched the ball, I just shot it. I didn't run the play. I just shot it. I just want to get one up.
Got
Air
to get
ball
the
that.
jitters out.
I gotta get it out. I don't even care if it's air ball. I aired it. It was 6 feet short.
Sheesh.
Like it was short. Coach was looking at me like I might have to get him out. So, then like I ended up having like I think I had 20 in the second half and we won. And just being in the Garden for that experience was great. Like that was a great time. Like just being there, playing, like just everything about the Garden was crazy, like crazy. My family was there, so that was great. And then, yeah, what else you want to know about the Garden? Like that was a great week.
You pretty much touched on it. I had no clue that it wasn't as big as it seems, and obviously the details and the things like that. So you definitely touched on it. I can only imagine my first if I would ever play there, like the lights probably seem brighter. Like I can only imagine, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was definitely crazy, and it's darker than you think too. Like it's like everybody thought like usually you're used to some like light around the
Right.
rim. There's none.
That arena looks kind of dark. Looks like it's like a Broadway show sometimes.
It's very much like because we played in Staples too. We played my senior year. We played Arizona at Staples Center.
Dope.
Staples was kind of different because their lighting is a little weird. So like you can see behind the basket, you just see shapes. None behind the basket at the Garden. You can't see. Is it just you in the basket?
Dang, that's weird.
Yeah, strange for real.
So you played 3 years at Cal and you transferred, but
Yeah,
before we transferred, you got to play and see a young Jalen Brown.
yeah.
Talk about kind of what he was like there, and did you foresee this success that he's having now in his future at the time?
I just remember like our trip to Australia. Like I was really surprised with how well he shot the ball, how fluid his form was, and how fluid he was athletically. Like he was one of those guys where the college game it didn't benefit him, and he still did really well. He still dominated. It didn't benefit him because the lane was so clogged. The spacing wasn't to his benefit. But I mean, you're talking about a guy like 6'7", super athletic, can shoot, handle, guard. So like all the tools were I didn't see like I would say I thought he was going to be this. I think he's going to be more than what you're seeing now. Me personally, I think he needs to be the one option on a team.
Wow.
Like he's got to be the one option because it's like he's not heavy usage. It's not a whole lot of ISO. It's not a whole lot of I need this RAM for me. A lot of it is okay. I'm calling this pick and roll. I'm gonna dial it up, which is what he did at Cal, but
Mm-hmm.
he's gotten better at. And then like he has that downhill shift and athleticism that a lot of guys have, but there's no threat of pull up. Like what the NBA is, the way the NBA is now, it's like if it ain't three, he's going to the basket, but
Yeah.
he can pull up in the mid range. So I think he's deadly because he never needed like a whole bunch of touches to be effective. He can go get it off the glass, transition. There's multiple aspects to his game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why it's still good now because, like I said, there's multiple aspects of his game, and most importantly, that boy defends.
He guards. He guards. Like if you do that, you got a shot because the athletic tools that he has on a different level from 99.99% of people. Like, you may get a step to the basket on him. He'll go get it at the top of the backboard. And Zach Collins was that way too. Not so much in the athleticism, but the timing. Like when I was at Gonzaga,
Mm-hmm.
he had that timing too, where like it didn't matter where you released the ball, he could go get it.
Yeah, you played with quite a few guys that touched the league. We'll go into it more, but like you said, Jaylen Brown, Zach, Nigel Williams Goss, and Rui. I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, but you also played with a few of my teammates that I played with, some San Diego guys. Cam Rooks, we talked about. And
Cam Rook.
then yeah, my
Yep.
boy Cam Rooks. He's gotten slimmer. He's playing good nowadays, man. Cam's
Yep.
improved a lot. That's my boy.
Mission Hills legend. Mission Hills legend.
Yeah, what you know about Mission Hills, man.
Yeah, man. I remember that.
And then you also played with Garrett Galvin. He was a redshirt or a walk on or something like that, but he
Oh
was
yeah, Garrett Galvin. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember. Torrey Pines guy. And you know a
exactly.
guy named Jack Beach? He played at Torrey Pines?
Yeah, I'm not as I actually played with Galvin Jack's a little younger, but I do know
Okay.
them. Yeah.
He was at Gonzaga too, another San Diego guy.
Hmm. And
Um,
then another San Diego guy, I hate Tory Pines, and he's one of the reasons why. Nick Kerr,
Nick Kerr, jumper.
John for lefty.
Just lefty, just hey, catching fire is money.
Yeah, he's a solid dude too.
Yeah, good guy.
All right, so that's our time at Gonzaga. It was time to move on. Was it a coach change? Why did we transfer again?
I just wanted to change the scenery. It was like Cal was like a really demanding school academically, and they didn't do you any favors as an athlete. So it was like, you know, let me let me experience college basketball for what it really is for a year. Um, Someone I was really close to offered he touched on the idea of transferring to Gonzaga, like getting my degree early, just making sure I get it early from Cal, need that piece of paper, and then transferring. So I just pounded away at the work in the summer and then was able to transfer and do my master's at Gonzaga. So it was like, I feel like it was a great choice because I got to experience college basketball at a whole new level that I did before.
And before we talk about this real college level that you experienced your senior year, what did you study in school?
I was a poli sci major.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna flex like I know what that is, but that sounds tough.
it was like it was a lot of work, man. Because you'd have a game on Wednesday. Teacher talking about this is due on Wednesday, and you're like, okay, with the game to 7, he gonna be like, look at you and start blinking like,
He's like, so like? I'm not going
what
to the game. Why are you
what would
telling me
you
that?
what would you like me to do? And I was like, oh, okay, you know. But it was a good experience. I had a lot of fun at Cal, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
So at Gonzaga, you started all 39 games, which is way more than most people get to play. You were Jerry West Award finalist. And like you said, you got to experience real college basketball. You got to go dancing. So talk about um March Madness and just that national championship game, just the real level of basketball at Gonzaga?
So like it's different level because the preparation and attention to detail that Coach Few and the staff um, incorporate into the system is really high level. And also, it's a real family atmosphere. They handpick each guy on the team. All the guys were really cool, really good guys. And the tournament was crazy because I only played one tournament game up to that point. And all right, I thought each game was crazier than the last one. So the first game, I was like, man, this is the greatest game ever, right? Like I was like, this is the best game I'll ever play in. We won that one. I was like, this is the best game. Like we kept doing that. So then once you got to the Final Four and you're playing in front of 80,000 people, you're like, oh, this is like, at that point it was like, this is really different. So the national championship game, that still feels like a haze. I'm usually pretty good at remembering games. I can't remember that game that well because it just felt like it was like the end. You knew it was the end. I was a senior. It was the last game, no matter what. So it was like, all right, like let's just go out there and play. And they made some tough shots down the end, and we lost. But
Who'd
a
y'all face
great
off? Who'd y'all face off against?
we played Carolina. We lost to Carolina,
Mm.
and they had lost on a buzzer beater in the championship the year before that.
To Villanova, right?
The Nova, yeah. So like, it was like 78. It was 74, 72, I think. Us, a couple minutes left, minute and a half left. They made some tough shots. It was like tough. Like Isaiah Hicks he palmed the ball, hit like a one-handed double clutch floater to put him up one. And then Meeks got like a layup to put him up three. And after that, we had turned it over, and then it was pretty much over after that.
Man, that's got to be a crazy experience. So, like, as a hooper, there's a few things you dream about. Obviously, NBA is one because that's the highest level. And then when you
Mm-hmm.
start thinking college, obviously everyone wants to go D1. And then when you go D1, you want to go dancing, you want to play in the natty. So, like,
For sure.
you got to do those things. So that's just surreal in itself.
For sure. All those were like, I think, everybody has like their college experience. I was extremely blessed with what I was able to experience at the college level. Like going to Australia, playing against guys down there, playing my invitational, playing the Natty, playing the Madison Square Garden, playing all types of games, all types of teams. Very fortunate on that front.
Up until this point, if you remember, who was the best player you've played in college?
Doug McDermott. That's easy.
Dougie, Creighton
He had 30.
University.
He had 30. He had 30 on one leg.
What you mean one leg?
He took all one leg shots.
What?
They ran the same play. They ran this little loop play. He caught it. He square up. He jab. He fade. It's money. That net didn't move, bro. I was like, this man is going crazy. I was a freshman, so coach was like, we gotta force him. I said, coach, you're not for this man. No. I was like, coach, what you want us to do? Because he was big. Like he's trimmed down a little bit since he's been in the league, but he was kind of like stocky, and they had a couple other players who could really shoot it. So they were a problem, bro. Like, yeah, that McDermott's gave us light work.
Tough. That's tough bucks right there. What they call them, Dougie Buckets, right? McBuckets or
Dougie
something.
Buckets.
Yeah,
You don't get that name for no reason.
exactly. Like
You know,
it's in the name. Proof is in the pudding, like they say.
that's not a name you get for no reason. He was out there giving us serious, like workout buckets. Like, okay, go back to that spot shoot again. Go back to that spot shoot again. I was like, damn, this man is frying us.
He was getting reps up against y'all.
He was getting straight reps, like talking the reps out, like, okay, nipples fade, nipples fade. I was like, bro, you ain't gonna talk the moves out to me. And then like, who else we play in college who was like that?
Wow. Yeah.
There was a guy named Deontay Burton who went to Nevada.
I know him. His bounce is crazy.
He had a dunk, and this was like late 2013, so YouTube wasn't popping yet. He had a dunk. I was on the bench. Bro, if you see on TV, my eyes just got wide. I was like, oh, he dunked on all of us.
Yeah. Hey, he's from SoCal. Did you know him before, or did you know of him before he was out in Nevada?
I knew who he was because Ball's Life was huge.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
That's all we did was watch Ball's Life.
Facts.
And we was just watching Ball's Life. I said, who is this dude jumping off a trampoline mid game? Like,
No, he was different back in the day. I remember him for sure.
he was crazy. He was crazy. So yeah, those two guys, bro.
That's what's up. So college is done. We had a great experience, like you said. You did what you had to do. So now it's time to explore the league. It's time to see what's next for us. So uh who was your first agent and what was that the agent process like?
So my first agent, I was with Wasserman. It was a good experience because I got to work out against like some of the best guys. You know, me and George Niang worked out against each other, and George's on the Sixers now.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked out like
Iowa
every
State, right?
Iowa State legend every
Yeah.
day, worked out every single day. And that's where my game really just took off. Like first couple of weeks, we play ones, we play situational one on one. He killed me every day. But then here's the kicker though. A little later in the year, in the summer, like I say, like month, 2 months later, uh, this is the year Westbrook won MVP. He started coming in working out.
Mm.
Oladipo started coming in working out. So it was like, as a young guy, 24, 23, you getting to go against all these high level guys. There's no fear. I don't care who I'm playing now. I'm playing against MVP. Like, I play against the MVP.
That's the top of the top.
That's top of the. What do I need to worry about? You know. So that really helped a lot. And the guy who trained us was Noah LaRoche, and he was big time with like the conditioning, the sled push, the sled pull, just being in top shape and working out and being at the best of your game the whole summer. So like yeah, that was a big time experience.
Yeah, the good agents, well, high level agents for high level players like yourself, they get set up with workouts, set up by them and just getting them um put in the right position all summer just to get better for the next job that they get. So that was a great start for you to see how things were gonna be. So um sounds like a good agency, like we said. Did he have any summer workouts for you before the 2017 NBA draft, or were things
Yeah,
just kind of after the draft?
I worked out for the Raptors, worked out for the Knicks, I worked out for the Nets, I worked out for the Pelicans, I worked out for the Lakers. I think there's a couple more teams, like two more teams. I think I had 8 or 9 workouts in total, and they were all pretty much the same.
And
Uh,
what do those look like? So, like
like
briefly up.
you're gonna run, finish, shoot, play a little bit of 3 on 3, shoot at the end. I just want to see if you're like in some semblance of shape
Mm-hmm.
and how you can play like in situations and can you guard 1 on 1. You know,
Can you guard
so
on that island?
yeah, if you're on that island, can you make it difficult for
Can
a
you
guy?
swim?
Yeah, and just not get just destroyed in every single pick and roll scenario. So like, or just isolation, like, can you guard that?
Mm-hmm.
So once you're able to, and I wasn't, if I'm honest, I wasn't really ready for that. I did pretty well in the workouts, but I wasn't physically there. I wasn't mentally there at the time. But that was a great experience. Also, all about building the experiences.
And it's no one to blame. But would you kind of say your agent kind of didn't have you ready for that? Like he kind of didn't tell you what to experience, kind of thing, or it's more self accountability?
No, they kind of did their job. It was more on my part. Like, okay, like the recipe that's worked in the past, it can work for you throughout your whole career. You
Mm-hmm.
go out there, you compete, you play hard, just fall where they may, right? I tried to make it something it wasn't. I kind of put the NBA on a pedestal, made it this whole thing. Like, if I make it here, then I'll be this, then I'll be that. But it just wasn't. There was no need for that. It's basketball. End of the day, so you
Mm-hmm.
have to just play basketball.
And you mentioned it way earlier in the podcast that we're talking about like work ethic in high school. Like, oh, I did that, but that just worked for me. So like whatever you like I said, whatever you've been doing, you kind of should have kept doing that because you had high success in college and it worked out. So you kind of should have kept doing it. So you figured it out. But yeah,
I think
at some
Terrence,
point we all figure out that we kind of know how to work. We kind of know what to do already.
Amber, you play enough games. You know how to play basketball, all right? We can do it. We can do thousands of drills.
Hmm.
We already know what the game is. You gotta just play.
Yeah.
It's just sharpening the blade now. Like you have to make the blade when you're younger, but
Hmm.
now you just gotta sharpen it. You gotta sharpen the iron every time you get in the gym. Refine, refine, refine. And then when you go against other good players, then iron sharpens iron. So you just keep going. But you know how to play games. Like I'm gonna work on this double step back move. You gonna do that once a game. Like it's good to have, but you're not doing that most of the game. So
Yeah.
like, but yeah, like the recipe, I think tearing my Achilles really helped my mind get back set to the recipe that worked in the past and how that's gonna work in the future. Not so much outcome based, but enjoying what I enjoy about the game.
Hmm. Got that gratitude.
Yeah, of course.
So 2017 NBA draft, we went undrafted.
Hmm.
Um, did you kind of figure that, or were you have like a kind of watch party, or what was draft night like for you?
That was actually my birthday. So I
Wow.
was like walking around, like I was like, I didn't even watch. I didn't even watch. I just didn't like I didn't really, to be honest, like everybody wants to be drafted. I kind of knew going in that it was like, all right. Because my agent told me something interesting. He said, if you're not first round, you'd rather go undrafted. Because he's like, you get to pick where your situation is where they might need you. As a drafted guy, if you draft like 44th, they may not need you like that. So I went undrafted and then I got signed by the Pelicans right after that for summer league, a couple hours after. And after that, it was good. It was like, all right, like just keep pushing, you know?
So you played summer league.
Yeah.
Think you got signed and waived a couple times before. I'm sorry. You signed with the Hawks and then you
Yep.
were
With
waived a
Erie.
release and signed by the Erie Bayhawks. But kind of
Yeah.
explain or go into to talk about what happened with that.
I mean, it was a situation where I, again, like, wasn't, I just didn't understand the situation at the time. Like, okay, what does this team need? And if you can fill that need, I was trying to fit my game, but I'm going to do my game the best of my ability. But if it's like, you do what you do and do what they need, you can stick, you know? That's why I tell Jonah all the time do what you do, fulfill a need that they need. You like, it may not be the role that you think it is,
Mm-hmm.
but if you do it well, you're going to be all right, you know? So those experiences helped me more. But like I said, the injury helped me the most. Like all this stuff leading up to the injury, I was like, I'm gonna do it my way. But um, it's a combination of doing it your way and understanding the situation you're in.
Exactly. You got to know, let's just knowing your big picture and just knowing the grand scheme of things in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. But nonetheless, you still touched the league. So like you signed, you got the picture, like you're in the Hawks jersey, you was up there. So what was that? What are just some notable things you took away from that, or what was that like being in the league for a little bit?
It was a different world, but it was also the same. Like it's like I expected it. Like I expected to feel different. Like I thought I was gonna be like
Mm-hmm.
feeling different. Like I was like I've made it now. I'm where I want to be, but I felt the same. So it was like, oh, okay. Well then, did I make it to be something that is not? And that's when I was like, so what's it really about then? And I was like, oh, it's about the work. That's what I enjoy the most. But being in the league was nice. It was like, I remember we played Miami, we played Detroit, we played Cleveland. And I saw Braun work out, like in person.
Wow.
We played Cleveland. And like, I was like, oh, like, this dude's like 33 and he's like still working like this. So like, he must enjoy the work too. That was my first thought. Like he really didn't. It's preseason. He doesn't have to work out that hard. He can really just chill. Not even show up to the game, really. He
For
was
real.
he was in the gym going, he was in the arena going hard, like full game sweat. And I was like, oh, he's in it for the work also. That's what the reward is for him. Everything else is kind of secondary.
Yeah, that's why he's goaty. Like the great
That's why
ones
he's
love
up
the
there.
game.
That's why he up there. That's like, bro, Mike came back when his knees was about to fall off. What he did not have to come back and play at 40, but he couldn't help it. He was like, I gotta go play. He just loved it that much.
And there was a misconception too. Like he was still getting to it with the Wizards. Like people painted this picture because it wasn't the same Mike, but I think he averaged like 26 or 24 or something. Like
Listen, 40-year-old Mike was killing dudes who was 20. Like all mid post work, all mid post. Excuse me. I have an appointment. Like I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna do what I do and make this shot. That's it. Repeat.
facts. I remember he hit that fadeaway game winner in the All-Star game, midi, right
Like
short corner.
like he's 40 doing that. He doesn't care. Like he's just like, yeah, I do what I do. You know? So yeah, I think those lessons really helped.
All right, so we're still in the league. Let's talk about the G League. What was it like playing for the Bayhawks? We had some success there. We had some big games. Talk about that experience.
So Erie was a good experience for me.
And where is this located at actually also?
Erie, Pennsylvania, bro. It's on the border of New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania. It's cold, ain't nothing out there, nothing. All right.
I was about to say this sounds nasty, low key. Those border
Like,
towns, I'm like,
bro, it
nah.
was bad. It was bad. But my teammates were so cool that it made it a really good experience. So it was fun to hang with a great group of teammates again, and also like get my first taste of the pro game. Like the pro game is not college. It's not like college at all. Like, this is a business. So like you might play 10 games and you're not gonna play for six more.
Mhm.
It's the way it go. So understanding that, being able to manage that was big.
That's half the battle is playing this battle and off the court, mental and just all the other intangibles. So having a good
Right.
group of guys and supporting cast and stuff like that is major.
No, for sure. For sure.
So you obviously played well enough to get you another summer league look. You signed with the Clippers for the NBA Summer League in 2018. After summer league was over, you decided, okay, let's like I need more. Like either wanted a bigger role or whatever the reason was being, but you decided to take your talents across the water. 2018, we started in Denmark. What was it like our first overseas season? And what came to the decision that you made to where you decided I'm gonna go overseas?
It was just like, what's it about? I want to play. I want to play basketball, and I want to go where I can really improve my game because they need me to win. I can work on my ball handling. I can work on my guard skills. Like work on doing everything. Like I can already shoot, so like let me just build from that. Let me work on my off the dribble shooting. Let me work on my passing. Let me work on my playmaking. And going to Denmark was a great experience. I got really lucky with my teammates. Um, so it was just worth it. Like it was worth it because it was just a year of growth and living across the water. Like I know people hear like horror stories of overseas, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're adaptable, I don't see why guys don't like doing it. Uh, I loved it. I loved Denmark, every part of it. Like it was a great year. Loved Italy too. Both were elite spots.
Yeah, you followed Italy right after that, and Russia was the
Russia was
last
different.
country.
Yeah, Russia was different, but Russia taught me a lot too, because it was like that was such a high level of competition, the Russian league, and um, just like I tore my Achilles right as I found my groove. Like the game before that, I had 20. And I was just starting to figure out the coach, the system. I was just starting to get it. Like I was like, okay, he gonna yell, he's crazy, but I just got
Mm-hmm.
to play anyway. And then I tore my Achilles, but I learned a lot of lessons from there that I think are really going to help me when I come back. Um, because that VTB league was no joke.
I
That
was
was,
just about to comment on a league that's a big league, and I was excited to watch you get busy in there.
but yeah, that league is not a game. Like dudes are big over there. Like dudes in like 4 minute Italy aren't that big. 4 minute Russia are big. Like they're like, oh yo, this dude is like 6'9", 250. You know,
Natural strength, not like they don't even be cut up too, but they be like stronger
just
than
big.
yeah.
Exactly.
What
So
was a clear difference between college, NBA, and overseas, either style of play or just anything that's a notable basketball difference?
speed, speed of the game,
Yeah.
uh, speed of the game, and the the only difference the levels you go up is the athleticism and the decision time window. You just got to be lightning quick because you're not pounding the ball like that. You don't get that. You
Mhm.
don't get the 35 dribbles to, you better make it, you better shoot it, cut, drive it, get off it, you know? So that was a huge adjustment for me between those three.
Yeah, I would say game speed is like a universal answer. And anytime you go up a level, like game speed and decision making time and those kind of things that you named are quick, and that's what separates good players, and that's what makes people be able to keep playing is the decision that you make in such a short time and those kind of things.
Yeah, and I had a trainer tell me, like, he told me, like, you don't necessarily have to move faster. Like, teach your brain to move faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, teach your brain to process the game quicker. Like, you don't have to run any faster. It's sometimes better to go slower, but just teach your game, teach your mind to process the game a little slower, and you'll be fine.
It's sometimes better to go slower. That's it right there.
For sure, you don't have to be a speed demon all the time.
You know me, I'm fast, bro. I'll be trying to go. So like that resonates with me. Like
But
everything doesn't
yeah,
have to be fast, bro.
no, a guy who changes speed is so much harder to guard than a guy who's speed all the time. Because
Mm-hmm.
like, he slows down, then I gotta slow down, then he speeds back up. I'm behind, you know.
Yeah, because you don't know
So
when he going slow fast. Only the guy knows, the ball handler.
exactly, exactly.
All right, so before we wrap up this podcast, which was it exceeded any expectations I could have had for the first episode. So this was lit. Thank you again.
Of course, bro. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're still overseas. Let's talk about a highlight and a low light experience you had over there. It can be on the court, off the court, just anything that is memorable of your time so far.
Yeah, so highlight overseas would definitely be like the crowds in Italy were great. Like the games were all super competitive, which I loved. And just traveling around Italy with my teammates was really fun too. Like our coach was real lenient with practice. So we would just chill. Like we were just chilling. Like we went to Florence, went to Barcelona, um, got to experience all parts of the country because we had so much time off because we were winning. And that was definitely a highlight for me. A low light would definitely be like tearing my Achilles in Russia. Because it was just like I didn't even understand the language. So like they were talking to me about it and I just didn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah, that's got to
But
be frustrating.
yeah, and I was like, yo, like, and I started Googling on my phone, like, what are the symptoms of a ruptured Achilles tendon? I had all of them, bro. I was like, no, I don't think I have it. I was like, yeah, yeah.
Just checking them off the list, like, yeah.
They all like, yeah, but like it helped me understand more about my body and listening to my body and making sure that everything is solid before I even step on the floor. Like that's the big thing now. Um, just make sure everything's solid.
So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to touch on. So when the injury, I just want to talk about like when the injury initially happened, like what was that feeling? What were the feelings that initially came to you and just the rehab process? 'Cause I know it's grueling, it's repetitive, and it can get mentally challenging. So just talk about those two things.
So when it first happened, it was like I kind of knew what happened because it's not a feeling you're accustomed to ever having.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like someone kicked my calf, and I just fell. Like I just fell down, and I knew something was wrong. And I was like, I can't get up. So my teammates like helped me in the locker room, and uh, I just knew something was bad. Like I could. It felt like you were stepping on a slam board. But KD had ruptured his Achilles the year before, and I saw him come back. And I got lucky with my physical therapist, David Lee. He's so good. He told me that the Achilles recovery is very straightforward. It's not it's not a whole lot of technical work. You wait for the tendon to heal, then you strengthen it. And that's all we did. Like the the entire process helped me realize that like there were multiple factors that played into me tearing it. So that helped like figure out what I can do better to prevent injury in the future. Like ankles are tight, nutrition. I wasn't eating enough. I wasn't getting enough sleep. Hip internal rotation wasn't great, you know. So you get all that down, then you start looking, okay, I can take care of my body and take care of what I can take care of. And you look at it as like a blessing in disguise. That's really what I've taken it as, an opportunity to get better over the past year.
And how have you been spending this time before you return to the court? You watching more film than usual, dribbling when you can't run, or like what kind of things do you find yourself doing more? It could even be things like less basketball and finding another thing. So what are some things you
That's what it
realize
was.
that yeah?
Like, yeah, finding a different avenue for my mind, take it off of basketball. Um, I love basketball, so I watch it all the time anyway. But just having a few other interests that can like occupy my mind instead of constantly, replaying the game, watching all the film I can, just relaxing a little bit more.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's why you said it's a blessing in disguise. That kind of just made you sit back and just slow life down.
Yeah, and not, you know, there is life outside of basketball, which
Hmm.
which is why I'm so much more grateful I can play now. I think I was taking that for granted for a little bit, so I had to get humble.
Yeah, found a newfound gratitude. Even COVID kind of made people have a new gratitude on life and just sports because everyone got sports took away for about a year. So I can only imagine what an injury would do to someone. So I salute you for staying down on the grind. I've seen some of the mornings when you came into rehab, and I know that was only a small percentage of what you were doing. So I salute you and can't wait for you to get back on the court next season, bro.
Oh, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you for having me on here. These are some great questions, and it's a really nice interview format.
Appreciate it, bro. Like I think you touched on a lot of good things that young hoopers and even current high school, college pro hoopers can relate to. They can take things away from it and they can most importantly get motivated and find out things that might help or not help them on their journey in reaching the level of success that they want to reach.
Mm-hmm.
So lastly, before we leave, is there any other thing you want to touch on, like life updates, like anything, any other endeavors you're working on outside of basketball? What's next? Any potential job openings for basketball? Just what's next for Jordan Mathews?
Oh, after I'm done playing?
No, just next right now. Like it's summer. What's in the near future?
Yeah, going back to Europe and playing at least a couple more years.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll see what happens. I think I want to coach, but I'm not sure yet. Some other stuff in the works, but it's still premature. Like as long as I take care of what I take care of now, then we'll see what happens. I mean, they say your prime is like 28 to 32, so I'm right in
Mhm.
that range. So I might as well play it out.
Oh, it's about to get ugly then. Prime time just coming.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think this is the last question, then we are out of here. Earlier you talked about the best play you played in college.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got to know just overall because you touched the league for a little bit, the G League overseas. So the best player you played with and against.
The best player I played with, like my whole career.
Yep.
Probably JB or Tyrone Wallace. One of those two. Played with.
Who's the first? Who's the first one?
Jalen Brown or
Oh,
Tyrone
okay.
played against.
You said Tyrone Wallace is not the lefty.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was OD.
Yeah, I remember him. He's from the Bay, I think.
Yeah, he's from Bakersfield. He's the hooper. Played against. Man, I'm trying to think. Jordan Adams when he was at UCLA, he gave us the quietest 30 I've ever seen. Jordan Adams when he was at UCLA, bucket man.
I remember him. He played for Atlanta Celtics.
Yes, bucket, bucket. I'm here
Okay,
to.
go ahead.
He's like, I'm here to score. Like that was his thing.
So I'm gonna challenge you a little bit more because that was another college guy who in the pro ranks.
A pro guy I played against. What was his name? I'm trying to think of a guy who's really like that. Bro, I don't know. I don't. There are very few people I play against. I'm just like, oh, he's really crazy. Like a
Yeah.
lot of good players. There hasn't been when I play on. He's going crazy right now.
It could be ones too, like if you play ones with Westbrook or any different high level
Oh,
guy.
my bad, Westbrook. What am I talking about?
Okay, okay.
Westbrook, easy. I thought you were talking about in game, just period. Westbrook, yeah, easy.
That's different bump right there.
His dead man downhill speed is like you blink, he's gone.
Nah, he's getting a buck on me every time. Like
He's getting a buck.
I'm
He's
not
gonna
even gonna flex.
he's getting a bucket. Like you can try, but he gonna do what he's gonna do. Yeah, Russ for sure.
That's tough, man. And that's a wrap. That's all I got for you. Like I said, you covered a lot. It was great learning about you and having this combo with you and just feeling your energy on here and just hearing the joy that these stories brought you and just taking it back to the block. So like I said, thank you again and good luck to you and everything that you have coming forward, my bro.
Of course, appreciate it. Same to you. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, bro. We'll be in touch. I'll be hollering at you soon.
Of course.
All right, y'all. And that's the
All
first
right.
episode, taking it back to the block. Make sure you guys subscribe, share, stream it on all those platforms. We out.